Good morning. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Pastor Anderson of the Mary Grove Missionary Baptist Church of Gardi, Georgia. And we just want to welcome you once again to our radio broadcast, Let's Talk Radio. And this is our last broadcast of 2021. And we have some special guests with us on this morning. First of all, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves because we will be talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And Pastor Scott, I'm going to start with you.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Hermon Scott, pastor of the Bacon and Missionary Baptist Church in Waltonville, Georgia. And what a pleasure it is. And thank you for inviting me to be with you, Pastor Anderson.
God bless you. Sister Joanne.
Hello, my name is Joanne Anderson. I'm president of the organization that we have here in Tattnall County, the Emancipation Proclamation Program Committee. I am married with 4 grown children, 12 grandchildren, and I'm currently a member of the First African Missionary Baptist Church here in Glenville. And it is indeed a pleasure for me to serve on this committee.
God bless you. Taylor?
Hello, my name is Taylor, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Right now, I currently attend a middle school, and I am hoping to have a lovely time here.
Thank you, Taylor. TJ?
Hello, my name is TJ Lawson, and I live in Jessup, Georgia, and I go to Mary Grove Church, and I'm a brother of one. I have one sister, and I rap, I sing, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourself once again. The purpose of this broadcast is to talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. And we do know that it's been around for a long time. And many counties, they celebrate on January the 1st. They celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation, but some counties don't. As a matter of fact, some people really don't even know about the Emancipation Proclamation. So on this morning, we're going to take the time to enlighten you just a little bit more. And the reason why I invited Taylor and TJ to participate is because we don't want our young people to forget about what is happening. And as we grow older, we want to pass along the legacy of the Emancipation Proclamation. So on this morning, I've invited Pastor Scott. As he said, he is the president of the Liberty County Emancipation, and Sister Joanne Anderson, she is the president of the Tattnall County Emancipation Proclamation Committee. And at this time, Pastor Scott, I want you to give us just a little bit more information about yourself. And once you've done that, then we want Sister Joanne Anderson to do the same thing as well.
Well, of course, I said already that I was pastor of Bacon and Baptist Church. But beyond that, I've served, I'm retired from the U.S. Army, spent most of my young adult life in the Army. After that, I taught school for a short time in Long County, and then became full-time pastor of Bacon and Baptist Church. Now, in 2004, I believe it was, I was assumed the leadership of the Emancipation Proclamation Committee in Liberty County, and I'm standing on the shoulders of some great men. Most recently, Elder Henry Frazier was the president when I assumed the leadership role. I've been now, that makes about 17 years now, I've been president of this committee. And all kudos to the committee and the work they're doing. Makes my job easy. I kind of just lead them along, and they really do a fantastic job of remembering and helping our community remember this grand celebration. I won't take any more time talking about me because I want to get into the meat of the subject. So.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Scott. Now we're going to move on to Joanne Anderson.
Okay, and thank you, Reverend Anderson. And like Reverend Scott, I too am retired. I had a background in about 13 years of banking and then about 30 plus years in public health. And I've been retired for going on 6 years, and I'm enjoying retirement. Before becoming president of the Emancipation Proclamation Program Committee here in Tattnall, I served as secretary for quite a few years, and I served under 2 presidents. The organization here in Tattnall was started by Reverend J.E. Clark. He was a principal of Tattnall County Industrial High School. And after he became deceased, it was taken over by his co-founder, Sylvester Ashford, Deacon Sylvester Ashford, who was also a renowned principal here in Tattnall. When Deacon Ashford stepped down, it was taken over by another renowned educator here in Tattnall County by the name of Betty Miller Coleman. So I served under Deacon Ashford and under Sister Coleman. And this is just a passion of mine. I see the need, like you said already, Reverend Anderson, that younger people, when I say the word Emancipation Proclamation, they look at me like I have 3 heads. And I think that it's very unfortunate that we live in a time, I know it's been a long time past in our history that we were freed as a people, but it's important for us to keep this legacy and this tradition of keeping the world reminded of our struggle, what we came from. So I'm very passionate about what we do here in Tattnall. We have 11 church in an association. And of each one of those church, we have 2 to 3 representatives on our committee. So we have a very nice group of committed individuals who are dedicated to keeping the tradition of remembering and commemorating the emancipation of our people. So I'm very proud to serve.
Thank you, Pastor Scott and Sister Joanne. And what I'm hearing is it's important for us to remember. It's important for us to continue to carry the torch. And as Pastor Scott said and Sister Joanne said, you all are standing on the shoulders of great men and women who started it, but you cannot let it die. You know, they may have died, but yet still the legacy still continues. And Pastor Scott, I want you are a history teacher, so I want you to tell us some information about this piece of paper that President Abraham Lincoln signed, and tell exactly what it means, because we know that it did not free all the slaves, but just give us some information about the emancipation.
Well, I'm excited that you asked that question, and I'm run the risk of taking too much time. So let me just quickly go and tell you that, of course, the war between the states, the Civil War, was an important part of American history. And there are folk who have, since that time, talked a whole lot about this war between the states and what it means. And each historian can look at it and probably pull something different from it. We cannot change the facts of history, but we do change the interpretation of those facts as time go along. And so we have to be very careful that we get the right interpretation of what happened with the Emancipation Proclamation. It was in 1862. Soon after President Lincoln was elected and the Civil War began, President Lincoln made a decision that he would issue a proclamation freeing the slaves. Now, his cabinet, the people around him suggested to him and convinced him to wait until a Union victory, which happened in around September of 1862 at the Battle of Antietam. It was after that battle that President Lincoln then issued a preliminary a warning, if you will, that he was going to issue the proclamation in January, effective January 1st, that'll be 1863. Now, when that proclamation, the warning proclamation was given out, that's going to happen. Well, then it began, if you will, rumor mill, and the anticipation of that ran high, especially among those slaves that were getting the news. Now, those enslaved people, it's a better way of saying that, those people who were enslaved by the masters, began to anticipate that great day of January 1st, when freedom would actually come to them. And then on January 1st of 1863, the proclamation was actually official at that point. And by some accounts, many accounts, on January 1st, masters read that to their slaves and said, now you're free. And they were free then to go do their whatever freedom could afford them to do. It's a whole nother lesson, if you will. But very quickly, as we talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, it freed the slaves that were in states that were in rebellion, because at the time when it was issued, Mr. Lincoln did not want to upset the border states who were kind of friendly. Notice I said kind of friendly to the Union. And so in order to keep from upsetting them, he freed those states who were actually in rebellion against the Union. And so now there are some folk who I've read about, some folk who really think that Mr. Lincoln, and there's some firsthand documents to kind of prove the fact that Mr. Lincoln really wanted to free, had even mentioned freeing all slaves, and had pushed for an amendment, knowing that the proclamation was only a presidential order that would really have no effect in years to come. So he wanted to get an amendment that would end slavery. And so that will come later on with the 13th Amendment.
Okay. Thank you for that short history lesson, Pastor Scott, because we need to know, and young people, they need to know, but not only young people, we have some older people who really don't know what the emancipation entailed, and that all the slaves were not actually freed until the 13th, the passage of the 13th Amendment. Okay, let me ask you, Sister Anderson, what are some of the things that you all are doing on January the 1st in celebration of the emancipation?
Well, one of the things this year, because of the COVID pandemic, we had to cancel our celebration last year. And because of the surge in the numbers, we've decided this year that our emancipation program will be held outdoors. We have a church that we rotate to different churches that are in our association. So that this year we have decided that we didn't want another year to pass without us commemorating the emancipation. So we are holding it outdoors. And a staple of our program, I guess of most of the programs that are taken, that are given, is we like to sing, lift every voice and sing. And we're encouraging everybody to learn the words, not just read it from the paper. That's learn the words, and just kind of be encouraged that we can even be able to put a program out. We're really looking forward to it.
That's great. And who is your speaker?
Our speaker for this occasion will be Reverend Dr. Reba King Feliciano. She is the pastor of Center of Life Church here in Glenville. And their church, since their existence, has always been a part of the association of the Emancipation Program. So we're looking forward to it.
So is that where the outdoor celebration?
That's where the outdoor celebration will be. Like I said, there are 11 churches in our association. So each year that we put the program on, the program is rotated in an order. And this is the year that it has landed on the Center of Life Church. And their congregation and their pastor, everybody's looking forward to doing it. And what we also like to do is serve a traditional New Year's Day dinner after the program. So, and that's another thing that we're all looking forward to having.
Oh, right.
Okay. And what time?
It's at 11 o'clock a.m.
At 11
And
o'clock.
it looks like God is blessing us with a beautiful day, a beautiful weather day, upper 70s. And I think it's just going to be a nice event to hold outside. And it's going to be comfortable for the people who will be attending.
Okay. Thank you. And Pastor Scott, can you tell us how it started in Liberty County and this year, how we're going to do it and who the speaker is, and just some information about the 2022 Emancipation Proclamation Program?
Well, let me just quickly cut across the fence and say the Emancipation Proclamation was started many, many years ago. And as we look for the records of that, I've been told over and over again that I think some were destroyed in a fire, as I understand Elder Frazier talking to me about that. But I can tell you that for years untold, Liberty County has celebrated the Emancipation Proclamation, and they've done it on the New Year's Day at high noon is the time they've celebrated. And we have kept that tradition over the past my time of 17 years. And then I know I've been in Liberty County 25 or so years. So during that whole time, it's been on January 1st at 12 noon. And before that time, they tell me that was the same way at 12 noon. And so this year we would do, because of COVID, and we did it last year, we continued the celebration with and we did it virtually. We will meet again virtually and do the celebration. Our speaker this time will be Pastor Eric Lee of the Springfield Missionary Baptist Church in Conyers, Georgia. He will speak to us, and I'm excited about hearing him. Good references and good. He's a historian of sorts, and I'm just excited to hear what he will have to say to us as we talk about our theme of emancipation. Don't hide the story. Emancipation, don't hide the story. And that's really what Pastor Anderson, what I really want to say to us today is that we're here today because I don't want us to hide the story. To these young folk that are with us today, I want you to be excited about not hiding the story. There is a movement about that wants us to downplay our history, wants us to make light of the fact that America has some ugly stuff in it.
That's right.
And the ugly stuff really affects us. Let me say to these young folk, look, I'm young, I'm old enough to know and to have experienced sitting in separate waiting rooms at the doctor's office. Oh, yeah. I've experienced going in color only store doors. I've seen all that. I've done that. And when you think about that, the fact that I am 63 years old and I have experienced that, it wasn't that long ago. That's right. And so how dare anyone want us to forget or to downplay the atrocities that we faced? And again, I get to talk about that and I can talk forever, but let me just tell you that it's important that we don't hide the fact that we got some stuff. Now, in remembering the stuff that's in there, it doesn't make us bitter. It's going to make America better because we won't do those same things again. And so please, young folk, please, if you're listening to us today, or if you're here on the panel, please don't let folk make you feel bad or somehow feel guilty about remembering and celebrating the fact that we are freed. Notice what I said, freed people.
Freed people. That's right.
Absolutely. Joanne, what is your theme for Patna County?
Our theme for Patna County this year is each one serve one. Because we think that our organization came about, and even the emancipating of the slaves came by someone serving someone else. We know that our emancipation came because God has allowed it. He is the one that we pray to, and that's one of the reasons why ours is always conducted in the church, because we truly believe without Him we could not be where we are. So we're encouraging people to be of service to one another. And that is the theme of our emancipation program this year. And I was really glad to hear Pastor Scott give some of the history and talk about some of the things that we've been to. Our history does have a lot of ugly marks on it. One of the ugliest things that it has is slavery and the way that our people were treated. But being that we are now a free people, we want people to start being of service to one another. They had to be of service to one another, even as they were slaves, or they would not have survived. So even in today's time, we need to be of service one to another. So I'm delighted that the young people are here because it's important for them to know and not be ashamed of the history that we have overcome, that we're no longer slaves in bondage, in physical bondage, but we can very easily slip in slavery of mortal bondage, of sin. We could be in slavery to that. So that's one of the things that we want to warn our young people about. And also be proud of your history. Yes. We strive to go from good. This is where we are. I feel like we are right now. We're in a good position. Everybody can pull themselves up. Maybe not everybody by their bootstrap, but they can be just about anything they want to be. But we want to move from good to better. Always good to better. Wherever you are, if it's good, strive to be better.
Absolutely. And we cannot hide the story, because you have to tell the whole story. It doesn't matter how bad it is, right. You still have to tell it. That's just like getting saved and pretending that you never did anything wrong.
That's right.
So in order for us to get to this place, or for the country to get to the place where God wants it to be, we must sit down and, like Isaiah says, come down, let's reason together. You know, even if the history is bad, you can still sit down and reason together and make sure that we don't repeat the same thing. But you cannot be in denial that slavery exists. You cannot be in denial that there was Jim Crow. You cannot be in denial that there was lynching. You cannot be in denial about that. But once you accept it and said, okay, we're not going to go back. We're not going to repeat the same things, but we want to be a better people, a better country, then we can move forward together and be the people that God will truly have us to be. Now, any other comments, Pastor Scott or Sister Joanne, on that before we move forward?
No. We're good.
Okay. Do you see a decrease in interest in the emancipation? Because some people feel that we have arrived, and so we don't need to discuss all that stuff. While every year while you're having all of that stuff, do you see a decrease? And if so, what must we do, or what must you all do as leaders to make sure that the story is never hidden, or to make sure that we remember that we're supposed to serve one another, that we're not supposed to get to the top and say, hey, I'm here now and you all are down there. So what, as leaders, what must we do to ensure that the story is always told, and that we always remember that we are our brother's keeper, and that we're supposed to reach back and to serve one another?
Well, one of the things, Reverend Anderson, I feel that we need to do as members of the committee, and just members in society as a whole, we have to educate the people around us, and we have to keep getting that message out. That the emancipation, one of the reasons why I get so excited about putting on the Emancipation Program is another opportunity for us to get the story out there. And I have seen a dwindling of interest. If we can base that on the number of people who attend the programs, it may be because of the pandemic, or I don't know what the reasoning is. I've always been passionate about it. So when I have to really ask the question myself, why is it? Why aren't you interested of my children? Because I think my generation of people were more interested in my children's generation of people, and now their children have a waning interest in it as well. So I don't really know what the reasoning is. It may be because people feel like we've arrived and we don't have to be reminded of those days. And to that, I totally disagree. But I have seen it waning, and I myself would like to see a resurgence in an interest in it. But I think the key is talking about it and putting it on social media, using all the resources we have at our disposal to get the word out.
Thank you. Pastor Scott?
I certainly agree with you, Ms. Anderson, that there's a real need for us to keep the story going. In 2004, when I was assumed leadership of the committee, the preacher for that day, as he installed us, said, and Pastor Anderson, you may remember, he talked about being the keepers of the flame. And he charged us, and I took that charge very seriously, that I was to be the keeper of the flame. Now, what that really means is that it's incumbent upon us to make sure that the flame keeps burning.
I like that.
And if it goes out,
Mhm.
then it is the keeper's fault that it went out.
Yes.
And so perhaps then it's not the young folks' fault, but it is a keeper's fault. And so with that being said, one of the things that keep me awake at night, if you will, is how do I keep the flame burning? How do I keep encouraging people to do that? One of the things I've done pre-COVID was I came in saying to our committee, we want to make sure that we involve as many young folk as possible during the celebration. I ask each year that we would get, whenever possible, that we would have young folk doing the singing as a way of getting them involved. I ask for churches with youth choirs to have their youth choir to provide the music. Now, quite honestly, and I'm not afraid to say it like this. Quite honestly, there were some senior folk who did not like that idea, and really gave some pushback, if you will, about the involvement of too many young folk. Now, I'm telling you, if we're going to keep the flame, we got to involve the young folk. And thank you again, Pastor Anderson, for inviting these two young people to come be a part of this panel. I'm waiting with bated breath to hear what they got to say, and I don't want to talk too much, but it's important that we keep that fire burning. And the only way we can keep the fire burning is by serving one another. Each one of these young folk here has got to, we've got to personally reach out and talk to them about the event and what it means. And I could spend an hour talking about why we ought to do that, but our time is limited. So that's my spiel for that part.
And I appreciate you saying that too, Pastor Scott, because our committee as well, we love to include the young people. Every program features young people in some capacity, and that is the way we have to keep the story. I love what you said about being keepers of the flame, and that is what we have to do. We have to keep the fire burning. We have to, and then the only way that we can do it is to make sure that it catches a hold on some young people. And that's one of the things that I'm really proud about our program, that we always incorporate some young people.
And that's great. And Pastor Scott, as you were talking with the young folks, you have to bridge the gap. So you have to bridge the gap with our generation, the older generation, and the younger people. We're not competing against one another. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do it together. And we are better together, because we were young once, but now we're getting a little bit older, and we need to be reaching back and pulling them along and downloading some stuff into them, because they have ideas, especially when it comes to technology. There's so many things that they can tell us, with social media and everything else, so that we can make it a little bit better every year. And as you said, you have them to help with the singing. And I noticed that Sister Dee Frazier, she also has some young ushers as well. So that's very good. And at this time, I'm going to yield to the young people on the panel and give them an opportunity to ask a question. Taylor, I'm going to go you first, and then TJ.
Okay. Do you see this country moving forward or backwards, and why?
Well, as for me, I see our country moving forward. The ones that are either trying to keep us stagnant or move us backward, they seem to make a louder noise. But as a people, we are being very progressive. I see we have more people of color in higher positions. We have more people of color in making more money. We have people in color in high positions in just about every corporation in America. So I definitely see us progressing. But I see those who try to keep us stagnant or try to pull us back as making the loudest noise. So it may appear that you're not being progressive, but it's only because of the noise that they make. But we still have to be watchful of them, because even as they're making noise, they're also making undercover moves. So we just always have to be watchful.
Ms. Anderson, I appreciate you saying that, that we are moving forward, because if we get caught up in the negativity of the naysayers, we'll find ourselves doing exactly what the naysayers would have us do, is stand still.
Right.
And so, Taylor, in answer to your question, yes, we are moving forward, howbeit may be slow at sometimes. In the words of Dr. King, the moral arc of the universe may be long, but it bends toward justice. In other words, it may take a long time getting there. We may be moving slowly, but I dare say to America, we are moving forward.
That's right.
All right. TJ?
I got a question. Why do you keep having the annual program?
I want to tell you again, excellent question. I appreciate you asking that. We are the keepers of the flame. And if we stop having the annual program, then you and let's say if we stop now this year, your generation, you and Taylor know a little bit about the emancipation. But if we stop having it, your children will know nothing about the emancipation except what someone else wants you to know. And we have to be careful, as I said earlier, we can't change the facts of history. The facts are clear. We have to be careful that we interpret those facts as we see them. There's a thing I say so often, is that until the lion learns how to read and write, the story of the hunt will always glorify the hunter.
That's right.
And so what that really means to us is, if we leave our story to be told by other folk, it will glorify other folk. We must tell our story so that we can get the facts as they are to us.
Powerful. Okay, Taylor and TJ, I'm going to let you all ask another question as well.
Okay, I have a question. If you wanted to be a part of the community, how would you join?
If you
The
wanted
committee?
to,
Be a part of the
Yes.
committee.
that too is a very important question. Like on our committee, like I said, we are a collection of 11 churches in our local area, but our invitation is open for other churches to join the association. As other churches join the association, any of their members can be part of the association. But every year, whenever we have our emancipation program, we open up our, well, not this year because we're not having the youth choir, but we open our youth choir to the community. You don't have to be associated with any of the churches in order to be a part of it. And one of the things too that I liked about the question that TJ asked earlier about why do we do it every year? And I have a personal reason, because every year in our program, although I've been doing it for I've been involved in it in 20 years, I learned something new. We have a portion of our program that's dedicated to reflections and history. And normally there are people from our community, and I learned something different that I didn't know in the past. And it's important that we know our local history as well as our history as a people, and what the struggle was right here where you live or where you have lived. And I think it's important for us to know that. So like Dr. Anderson said earlier, we won't repeat those past mistakes or missteps. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's important. And also, our organization is open. We have people that come and participate in our program that's not part of our association, but the association bears the brunt of putting the program on. And we're very proud of that.
Ours is an ad hoc committee, meaning that anybody, any given year, the committee is different. And if you want to be a part of it, simply contact myself or Pastor Anderson or any member of the committee, and we just come to our meetings. We have meetings starting in November, December, only three meetings a year, I believe it is, that we get together. And so we invite people to just come be a part of the committee meetings as we plan for our program. We have one service. Now, what's important, along with why we do this, is that in our committee, we give out, for the past several years, we've given out 8 scholarships to graduating seniors, which is a reason why we keep doing this, because we want to be a blessing to the community. Our forefathers believed that education was a key to freedom. And so we want to continue that tradition by encouraging students to get an education and by offering them scholarships to help them get that education.
Hurry up, it's about to run out.
Thank you, Pastor Scott. TJ, do you have another question?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
What are some things you would like to see happen in this country in 2022?
I would like to go ahead and answer. One of the things I would see like to happen in this country in 2022 is that our justice system, I want to see more public justice being served for those who bring crimes against our people. It's not plugged up, Kendall. Oh my.
Okay, I guess we lost him.
Pastor Scott, you go ahead.
Okay, what would I like to see happen in 2022? Well, one of the things I would love to see happen in 2022 is that our leaders, our political leaders of both parties would be more concerned about the least and the lost and the last, because those folk include us. Now, I'm bothered by political leaders who sit in their sealed houses and their rich mansions and then have the audacity to not give to the poor or to want to cut benefits for the poor. I'm bothered by that. So what I would love with my paramount thing would be to see COVID go away completely. That would be paramount. But beyond that, I would love to see politicians with more concern about the people as opposed to themselves.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Taylor, and thank you, TJ, for asking questions. And Pastor Scott and Sister Joanne, since you all are leaders in the community, and we know that COVID has not gone away. We thought it would have gone away by now, but it has not gone away. So I want each one of you to give a quick PSA, a public service announcement on the importance of getting your vaccine and voting, because we know that 2022 is coming up and we need to vote. We can't just not vote one time and say, okay, I don't need to vote the next time. So I want each one of you to give us a quick PSA on the importance of voting and the importance of getting the vaccine.
Oh, well, I know one of the things that is easy to say, if you don't vote, then you've lost your voice. If you have a voice, you should vote. Every opportunity, every election, not just the ones that they consider major elections like the presidential election. We need to be very concerned about voting in our local elections. These are the people who mostly direct your everyday life. So vote. If whatever obstacles that you may have or barriers to getting to the polls, let one of your social organizations know. We have means and ways among us that we can help you get you what you need in order to vote. There's no excuse for not voting. There's none whatsoever. Don't believe the hype about them. They may make it more difficult, but they are not making it impossible. And we are determined that every person who wants to vote will get the chance to vote. So, and as far as vaccines and vaccinations go, the vaccines are available there for your protection. They can literally save your life. So whatever reason that you're telling yourself that you don't get vaccinated is ridiculous. I have no patience, and I do not understand everybody making a personal choice. Get vaccinated. It can not only save your life, it may save the life of some of your loved ones.
Thank you very much. Pastor Scott?
I think I agree with you 100% that it's important to get vaccinated. I want to very quickly tell you that if you're walking down the road and you see a rattlesnake in the middle of the road, most folk with common sense will do something different. They will not keep continuing in the same path. COVID-19 is that rattlesnake in the middle of the road. We cannot continue business as usual and do the same thing. We get bit. And so thank God we have the vaccines. Thank God we have the vaccines. I want to encourage you to get the vaccines. Now watch this. COVID-19 has disproportionately affected the African-American community, which means now that if we continue at this rate, we could wipe out, if you will, half of the voting population. COVID-19 can do that. Now, I'm not saying that it's a sinister move on the part of other folk to wipe away our voting power. They've already done that in so many different ways. COVID-19 is not that thing, but it certainly will be that way if we don't get vaccinated and do something to stop the rattlesnake from biting us. I want to talk about voting very, very, very quickly by telling the story of Jarvis. Michelle Alexander, in her book, The New Jim Crow, says very succinctly, she begins the book by talking about Jarvis, who's, I believe, I may have these generations mixed up, but his great-grandfather could not vote because of slave. He was a slave. His grandfather could not vote because for the Jim Crow and the prohibitions and the Ku Klux Klan, all those things that stopped him. And then his father could not vote because of some of the same reasons, the poll tax, those kind of things. But then Jarvis cannot vote because he now is a criminal, has a jail record. Now look, why do I go vote? I want to go vote for Jarvis. Since I can vote, Jarvis, his father, his grandfather, and great-grandfather could not vote. But now that I can vote, I want to vote in honor of all those folk who, for whatever reason, could not and they cannot vote. And so I want to encourage you, if you are able to get registered to vote, please register to vote. And then now, not only register, but then you must go vote. It does not make sense to me to register folk to vote, have all these folk on the rolls registered, and they don't go vote. If you're able to vote this next election, thank you, Ms. Anderson, for reminding us, it's not just the presidential election. It is the off-season election that will make the difference. We must ensure that we get the right people in office and keep the right people in office, not just the president, because listen, the president has little power when the Congress, and dare I say, even the Supreme Court is against the president.
That's right.
And so now we got to be careful, my brothers and my sisters, that we go vote in the off years to ensure that the president that we elected in the on years can maintain and can do the work that we elected that president to do. Absolutely. So I want to encourage you, don't just get vaccinated, get boosted, and then go vote and encourage other folk to go vote so that we might boost, if you will, our entire voting power.
That's right. Amen.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I want to say thank you to each one of you, Pastor Scott, Sister Joanne, Taylor, and TJ. Thank you for your participation. This has been very informative, and I pray that our listening audience will get something from it. And I want to say thank you to those in the listening audience who tune in on Wednesdays for the broadcast. I've truly been blessed by your texts and your comments. And we just want to say God bless you. And Pastor Scott and Sister Joanne, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, because you are making an impact. You're making an impact in your local community as well as your outside community. And you made an impact on these two young people today. You truly made an impact on them. So we want to say thank you, Taylor, and thank you, TJ, for participating on today. And we want to wish everyone a happy new year. And then I just feel in my heart that in 2022, that things are going to get better. They're going to get better, but we just got to keep looking up, and we must do our part. We must definitely do our part. So once again, this has been Let's Talk Radio, and I'm Pastor Edith Anderson of the Marygrove Missionary Baptist Church of Gardi, Georgia, where I like to say that God's eye is on Gardi. Once again, God bless you, and I love you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.